So the more we can save people, the more excited they get. It's like they're fired up. So we can keep moving this down. We take cutbacks and cutbacks. And we can remove that, change your gas bill, drop your mortgage, change your interest rate. You can control your outgoings. So when I was younger, I didn't get this. I remember if it was getting a bit cold, you're in the house, you'd go to the thermostat. I don't know if anyone's parents were like this, but my dad seemed to like sense the thermostat. If you went near to turn the heating up, he like turned up like that guy on Mr. Deeds. He's like sneaky, sneaky. He was there. As you go to touch it, he like pull your hand away. He's like, you won't touch that when you pay the gas bill. He's like, if you're cold, go put a jumper on. How many people have been cold, go put a coat or jumper on the bus? Yeah, me a lot of times. And like, I remember one night, my parents were out, and I was like about 18, still at the house, and like, I'm going to go out and get really drunk tonight. And they came up with this ingenious plan. If I left all the lights on outside the front, I'll be able to find the house when I'm wasted. We don't have the lights on. So I come back, and I'm walking up and down the road. There was no light on. It was dark. I'm walking around, I can't find the house. True story, my dad comes out, he's like, get in there, and he drags me inside. I was like, I'm in trouble for getting this drunk. I wasn't in trouble for getting drunk. He was like, never leave the lights on again. It was like Blackpool Tower. Do you know how expensive them lights are? So all he cared about was lowering this collar. And I realized why he got so crazy about it. Because he couldn't increase his income. This one was fixed. And when you cut back, how far can you cut back? Again, you're going to find another pinnacle point, another fixed position. So eventually, you can only cut back so far. You can only get so far. How scary is that? Now, how much control do you have over your profit? Zero. What happens when you take a cutback on your outgoings? You've got to lose quality of life. You've got to cut something back. I was with my brothers the other day, and I was like, hey, let's put the Premiership football on. He's like, I don't have it. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, it's getting a bit expensive, so we cut it off. I was like, it's £10 a month. Like, it's £10 a month. You can't afford £10 a month to watch football. He's like, well, it's an expense I don't think we need. I can watch it on highlights later. I was like, in a month, my brother couldn't find a way to make 10 quid. He could sell lemonade outside his house on a Sunday morning for an hour. Like, you could increase this if you wanted. So instead of just doing these cutbacks, I'm like, his quality of life was getting lower and lower and lower. So I started explaining the chart. He gets really angry. He doesn't believe it. It was almost like I was pitching the devil to a Christian. I was like, we just want you to learn how money works. He's like, what do you know? So the byproduct of living this lifestyle, fixed income, fixed outgoing, you have zero control. What happens when you have zero control in life? Okay, has anyone ever been in a car in the winter? Anyone driving around? You've been in the car in the winter, and it's like a bit icy, and you put your foot on the brake and nothing happens. It starts sliding. That's when you have zero control. How does that feel? Scary as. So when you have no control of your income, and you have no control of your outgoings, and a bill comes through the post, it's like hitting that black ice. You're like, holy fuck, how are we going to pay it? We'll have to sell one of the kids' kidneys. Like, what are we going to do? So what happens is people live in this fear, depression, anxiety. Life becomes terrible. It's terrible. Their solution is they can sell more hours. Maybe they can work Sunday. Maybe they can work later at night time. And then they start selling it. So for me, that lifestyle wasn't the way. It made zero sense to me. And it changed for me. So I was living this life. I was working as a welder in the nighttime, personal instructor in the daytime, and this is happening. And I was in the gym one day, working out. It was massive. And I'm in the gym training, and I was whining about how much the steel mill where I work, they only pay me £12 an hour, they don't pay enough, and life sucks, and I was bitching about this job, and it was really negative. And this guy turns around the gym, he's like, will you shut the fuck up, please? And I looked at him, he's like, you're full of shit, and you're ruining my workout. I was like, I was going to squeeze his head. And then he looks at me, he's like, I want to ask you one question. He's like, in this steel mill where you work, do other people get paid more than you? I looked at him like he's an idiot. I'm like, of course they do. He said, who? I was like, well, my supervisor. He said, great. Does anyone get paid more than the supervisor? I'm like, the manager? Anyone get paid more than the manager? I'm like, yeah, the head engineer. Is there anyone else? I'm like, the architect, the designer. Is there anyone else? I'm like, the steel mill operators. He's like, okay, then you're full of shit. The steel mill, it's not the steel mill doesn't pay enough. You're not valuable enough to the steel mill. There's the problem. And he's like, that will be your problem your whole life until you change. The world pays loads of money to loads of people, but they won't pay you because you bring no value to it. What you worth is what you get paid. And I stood in this gym humbled by this little guy, and he walks off, and I was like, holy shit, it's so true. And I realized if I increased my value to the world, then I'd increase the value to the company people were paying me more. So it started by like going on this quest of, rather than whining about everything so expensive, I started thinking I just weren't worth enough. That was my attitude. It's like, I'm just not worth enough. So I went on this like hunt for student mentality to learn a system or learn a business or open a company where I was no longer paid by a fixed income, I could be paid by my value. That was entrepreneurism. The more value I brought to the world, the more I got paid. And student mentality, if you get this right, you'll win in life. And student mentality is very much like downloaded a movie. Has anyone ever downloaded a movie? Not an adult movie, a normal one? So less hands up now. Anyone downloaded the movie? You're like looking up and you're like, I'm going to watch this movie, and you start the download. Well, that's kind of like student mentality. Like, sometimes it like trickles in, it's like, it gets that bar, it says like 9 hours to download. You're like super negged out, you need that movie now. You're like, come on, motherfucker. But if it's like downloading quickly, you're fired up. Because the second it's downloaded, can't you start watching it? So that's the intensity to the download. That's the intensity of student mentality. The faster you get this information, the quicker you can use it.